Georgia, and it's mostly dense cedar plantation forest all along the highway here. We're headed towards North Georgia, so you can see a couple of mountains in the distance. We're getting out of the flatlands. We're here in Rockmart, Georgia, and we're looking out over a Walmart Supercenter parking lot, and out in the distance beyond, those are two huge grain elevators. Those are two big farm mill operations right next to each other, these huge industrial processes that take the grain from all the farms around here and process it and put it in those big storage tanks. So that's what those two large things you're seeing there. This is the town of Rockmart, up here in North Georgia. We haven't quite gotten up onto the ridges and bluffs of far northwestern Georgia, but we're headed that way. Well, this is the cave of Cave Spring, Georgia. This is the Courage Wolf. Oh, it's about 50 degrees in here. It's humid and damp. Water dripping from the ceiling. Gallons and gallons and gallons of fresh spring water come out of this cave. The flow outside is continuous and heavy, almost like a whole underground creek.
So do we gotta go back now? Oh, there's a little hole over there. You can see the other side. Look. Oh, is that where y'all are at? Look.
This is the one I'm coming
That's cool.
Alright, I'm headed back.
Yeah, that's what makes me weird. Get out of here. Okay, let's go. Hold on.
Oh my. Ooh. Oh. Okay. The bowels of the earth. Oh. All right. And headed back out. Oh, it's hot out here. Wow. Okay. This is a fresh spring down in Cave Spring, Georgia. This is the spring after which the town is named. It just comes right out of this hillside here. Well, we're still in North Georgia. We're a couple miles from the Alabama line. But before we get to the Alabama line, we should be rounding this bend and seeing, oh, there we are, right up ahead. Those smokestacks there are a massive, massive paper mill, pulp mill. I guess maybe one of the biggest ones in the South. You can see those huge electrical lines off to the right here, going all the way to the plant. There's also railroad lines coming in through here, and there's a whole bunch of waterworks up ahead as well, because as you make paper, you end up with a bunch of really nasty, acidic chemical water of various kinds as you go through the process, and those need to kind of sit and evaporate somewhere, and they've chosen this beautiful ridge and valley country of North Georgia to do just that. Here we are in Sweet Home, Alabama, where the skies are so blue. We're still in northeastern Alabama, and that ridge you can see up ahead there, we're, I don't know, maybe 20 miles south of Chattanooga, and that ridge there and the other sort of ridges and hills around here are the very last bottom bit of what you could call the Appalachian Range, in that these were formed by that same buckling event that caused the Appalachians to rise up as proto-North America smashed into proto-Europe, and then separated again with all of these mountains intact. There's one more further to the west. There's one more ridgeline over in Missouri, almost on the Ohio River. But these long kind of ridges that you see here, these long hills, are just the bottom tail ends of Appalachia. And I don't know that we've passed one just now, but it's mostly cornfields in these wide valleys, which I think the rest of these videos for at least a couple days worth of travel are going to be a lot of corn viewing, so look forward to that. Now that we're over that ridge, we are diving down into one of the valleys of the Cumberland Plateau. An absolutely mandatory stop here at the Fort Payne, Alabama Crystal. I am definitely going to get a bunch of tiny burgers, and I'm going to eat them. Back in Tennessee. Well, we're back in Tennessee, and we're in God's time, which is to say Central Time. These are a bunch of water oaks growing on this island here in Lake Nickajack, which is kind of a wide part of the Tennessee River. And actually on this little island in the middle of the lake is where the Tennessee Welcome Center is, as you're coming on Interstate 24 here. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's quite warm unless you get under these water oaks, in which case it is nice and cool and there's a little bit of a breeze. It is kind of loud because the highway is just right there. Just beyond these trees, further down the river, is the town of South Pittsburgh, which had been named something like Boulder Bluff Mines or something like that beforehand. There was an iron quarry and a couple of other industrial operations, and it was named South Pittsburgh as a hope, as a promise for the future, that the city would end up as large and prosperous and full of iron and steel manufacturing as Pittsburgh was at the time. Interestingly, that was the 1880s or so, so South Pittsburgh has no H at the end of it, because at the time, Pittsburgh itself didn't have an H at the end of the name. And so South Pittsburgh being named directly for it also left the H off, though Pittsburgh got ours back. We claimed ours back. Lobbied Congress. What beautiful water oaks these are. Must be about 100 feet in diameter from end of the branch to far end of the branch. Trunk is probably around 3 feet in diameter. Maybe 4 down at the bottom here. I-24 is an interesting highway. It cuts northwest from kind of the middle bottom of Tennessee to the top left corner of the state. And we were on it earlier, and it was quite a twisty, turny road. But as you can see, this part of I-24, and for about the last 30 miles, has just been one long straight road through the landscape. And I guess I should get used to this kind of driving, at least the like straight road part, for the longer push west in the next couple days. But certainly the amount of traffic right here is a lot for a 4-lane highway. And we're very much in the middle of nowhere between cities. Downtown Nashville, looking out across the Cumberland River. All kinds of industrial processes right along the river here. Headed back on to 24. We are in Nashville, Tennessee now, and we're just stopping by the city for a couple minutes to check out the Nashville Parthenon. So this is a full-scale replica of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, but it's here in Tennessee. This was built 1897 for Tennessee's centennial exhibition as kind of a big, cool thing to build. And yeah, there's no straight lines. The whole building's carefully curved to be hyperbolic, appear in space even larger than it really truly is, just like the gods. We are coming into my old Kentucky home. Welcome to Kentucky. We're still on Route 24. We're in Kentucky. We're headed northwest along the narrow western tip of Kentucky. Serve the poor like Jesus did. Absolutely. Many Christians forget to. We have started corn country. The corn rows that you see here, because the highway is at a diagonal, we are kind of running at an angle to all of these corn rows, because pretty much all the plots of land and roadways are north, south, east, west out here, because there's a little bit of a roll to the land, because it is still Kentucky, and you know, it's got hills even in the far western part, but there's not too many natural impediments to just building big Cartesian roadways, or little Cartesian roadways, depending. Or in the case of 24 here, just one long diagonal highway. We are still in western Kentucky. We are right at the land between the lakes. We're at the top end of the 2 lakes that form that, and right across from us you can see the land between those lakes. This is a national recreation area, and it's quite beautiful. We're still in western Kentucky, but only for another half mile or so. We are 950 river miles south of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, again, is the confluence of the Ohio River. The Allegheny and the Monongahela come together and form it. And the bridge that you can see right up ahead of that truck, we're about to cross over the Ohio River, maybe about 30 miles before its mouth with the Mississippi, where it flows into the Mississippi River and forms the sort of last Mississippi River to the coast, main big Mississippi River that we think of. Wow, traffic's really slowing down, so we might get like a very slow, beautiful view. Here it is, the wide Ohio River. Wow, it's gotta be maybe 5 times wider than it is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, it's maybe 200 yards across, and this is like 1,000 yards across at least. Cairo, Illinois is just off to our right over here, about 30 miles downriver. So, say hello to some of the water that we saw in the video a couple days ago. It's flowed down here too. And we're in the land of Lincoln. Welcome to Illinois. Well, we're getting into that evening time road cut here in far southern Illinois, and I think this is probably where this particular video will wrap up, and then the big push west will probably be the next video. Have fun!